Folks, welcome back. Today I want to take a look at Agent Krasnov. I have a couple of questions here that I want to ask. Let me get my notes. My first question is, what are we allowed to know about Trump being a Russian asset? I expect my cards will tell me if indeed he actually isn't and this is just being blown out of proportion. And I expect them to tell me if this isn't being blown out of proportion. I'm using the Tarot Mucha for this particular reading, and later on I'll be using the 7th Sphere Lenormand by Tina Gong at Labyrinthos. Love both these cards, and I think that they're appropriate for this particular situation. So, here we go. I'm putting reversals into this deck, and now we begin shuffling, and what happens here is I shuffle until Spirit asks me to stop. Whoop. One flipped out. The 3 of Swords in reverse. An unexpected heartbreak for the American people. That this is going to be a painful realization that someone who should have been an ally indeed wasn't, and was someone who was willing to stab the American people in the heart. So I guess you could say that's the answer right there, but if we can have a little bit more information from Spirit, that'd be fantastic. Okay, Spirit has told me to stop. No more. Take from the bottom. We have the High Priestess in reverse. This is about a leader who willingly spreads false information, lies, in order to distort the truth, in order to keep people from seeing things as how they really are. So I guess I take from this particular reading that so far, yes, that Trump is a Russian asset, that he is indeed Agent Krasnov, and it's not just something that's being blown out of proportion. We're not allowed to see things clearly right now, but later on, the 3 of Swords is being forced to see a situation clearly. But with it being in reverse, this is going to be totally unexpected for a lot of people. And for other people, not so much. The pain, though, will be doubled. So 3 on 3 swords. Here we've got the 8 of Swords. This is about, again, not seeing clearly. Our intuition is kind of guiding us down a particular path of realization, what the High Priestess wants to conceal from us, because traditionally the High Priestess sits in front of a curtain, in front of a curtain, but behind the curtain is a large sea. And this particular card is about getting a trickle of information with that water and not being able to see when we're out of the swords, when we're out of the lies, so to speak. Now, I heard from somebody, I think that it was Jessie Tarot, and I don't remember her full name, the full channel name, I'm sorry. Jessie Retro Tarot or something like that. She does foodie beauty readings, okay? But she talked about this particular card, the entity in this card, being able to take a deep breath and being able to relax, and then those bindings would be able to come down and the entity would be able to see and move more clearly. Right now, this is about a population that is willingly blinded to the truth of the matter, that people don't want to see the truth for what it is. And to a certain degree, I would kind of attribute that to Neptune and Aries, and we're coming to the end of an era with Neptune and Aries. I believe it's been going on since 2014 or 2011. I'll need to check my information in post-production, okay? But Neptune and Aries is about water on water. Neptune and Pisces. I apologize. We're about to switch into Neptune and Aries. But Neptune and Pisces is about water on water energy. It's about not seeing anything very clearly because it's not grounded with any air energy, fire energy, or earth energy. So for a lot of people, that gives people illusions about what's real, delusions even. It clouds if one is not tapping into their intuition, which Neptune and Pisces should encourage. If someone's not tapping into their intuition, then they're not going to see the situation clearly at all. They're going to be easily led astray by people who are telling them lies. Now, Neptune in Aries is on its way, so I also believe that a revolution against these kinds of figures is on its way. Neptune in Aries starts at the end of this particular month of March, and that is about having a dreamy understanding of war and soldiers and revolution and coming first, America first and all that kind of stuff. So there is change afoot, but in the meantime, a dream must end when it comes to Neptune in Pisces and not seeing something clearly, wanting to see something a particular way because this leader says they're a certain way, says that they're this kind of particular person, but in fact they're not. It kind of sets the stage for revolution, and a bloody revolution at that. This channel does not advocate violence. I do not advocate for violence. The greatest revolution that you can have is within yourself. On the other hand, this particular figure is getting what's coming to him, getting what he deserves, okay? Agent Krasnov is absolutely real. I'm getting from spirit to move on to my second question. How will this affect the collective living in the USA while Trump remains a Russian asset? So I'm actually going to pick up my cards, and I'm going to switch into my Seventh Sphere Lenormand cards. I'm getting a portrait spread. Is going to be for the best. This is a 3x3 spread. There are no reversals in Lenormand, although I've seen some really hardcore readers actually putting reversals in. I think that the cards are plain enough and even harsh enough that reversals are not needed. Okay? Take from the bottom for the theme. We've got cross. It's a burden to bear. Now, I know that I've got a shitty camera and you can't see this, but there is a very small figure looking up at this gigantic cross. This is a heavy burden to bear indeed. So how will this affect the collective living United States? It's going to be hard. Once people start realizing how much damage Trump is doing as a Russian asset, that's when the majority of the burden is going to fall on the collective. Now keep in mind that we are still in the shadow of Pluto and Capricorn until January 2026, which means that we are still going to feel the effects of Pluto and Capricorn, even though we transition into Pluto and Aquarius on November 19th in 2024, okay? So we're getting energies from both planets, both transits right now. We're feeling that revolution brewing in a lot of corners and in a lot of hearts right now, but at the same time, that Pluto and Capricorn is about the authoritarian structures that have grown in their places since 2008 when this particular transit started. That's going to continue to grow in power, and they're going to continue to grab more power until they can't anymore, until they're stopped by something. Please do not look to your politicians to save you, even if you voted for a side that you really, really believe in. Please don't look to your politicians to save you. At this point, this is more about the power of, it's transitioning to the power of the people and away from those old world authoritarian structures that we associate with Pluto and Capricorn. I hope I'm making sense. This is the central theme. This is going to be a heavy burden for us to bear. I'm turning this over to take a look at the top. We've got tree for the top row, and I'll be sure to take a picture once this particular reading is done. Tree, key, unlocking the secrets of something that's been growing underneath the surface for quite some time. The roots started back, I believe, in the 1980s when Agent Krasnov was first recruited. I hope I'm getting my information correct, okay? But the roots started 40 years ago and have now grown into a tree that is a force to be reckoned with. Here's the thing. Key is also associated with revolution, with unlocking new eras, something that I would associate with Pluto in Aquarius. So even though this tree has been growing quite some time and is very strong, has had time to grow, that doesn't mean that it's not able to be cut down or wind to blow it over. Aquarius is an air energy. I live on a farm with a whole bunch of oaks. I'm going somewhere with this, I promise. And a lot of these oaks are very beautiful, very old, upwards of 50 to 75, even 100 years old in some cases, okay? But after a very powerful windstorm, like what the area had a couple of days ago, tornado-like winds or straight winds have the ability to push these ancient oaks, these very old oaks, I should say, these very old oaks down. And that's when you see that those roots did not go very deep at all, that they spread out, but they didn't go deep into the ground like some other trees do. So I'm kind of getting that imagery here with the tree, that while this is an old tree, the roots spread out, they didn't go into the earth. So it's something that can be knocked down. And don't forget that Eckhart Tolle in his book A New Earth says that all structures are unstable. We need to take that seriously, especially with Pluto in Aquarius coming into play. Okay, so here's my top row. This is what is going on consciously, and I'll hold up the cards the way that I've got them. There we go. Any Lenormand readers, I'd love to get your perspective on what's going on with this particular row, but up top with it being conscious is that the United States is going to have to figure out a way to repeat cycles in some way. And with Pluto in Aquarius, the last time we were in this particular transit, we had the French Revolution, we had the Haitian Revolution, we had the Industrial Revolution, and we had the American Revolution. That was a time for the people, the collective, to say, enough with these monarchies, these power structures that are no longer serving us. We are going to be repeating that cycle. What we're going to be doing in the future is not new. But first, the collective needs to consciously wake up to what is happening to their country. The wool is being pulled over their eyes right now with that high priestess in reverse. That needs to end before Trump's end as a Russian asset comes. And once again, that can come in a variety of ways. I'm going to be careful with what I say around that, okay? There's the mountain. I'm taking care of the second row that is coming on the left side of the cross. Okay? Left side of the cross, this is going to be a very heavy, difficult burden. And I see this growing in the past. So this is about a difficult relationship coming up with Russia in the past, continuing to grow in the past. It's not, the Cold War never ended for those folks. And that has continued to create problems going into this present moment for people living in the United States. And it wasn't always that way. I seem to remember Russia being a United States ally during our last Uranus and Gemini transit. Uranus and Gemini, I believe, was during the World War II, when the United States had a massive war that was involved in a massive war that greatly boosted its status amongst the in the world, deservedly so or not. Okay, that's going to be up to you. Now this is interesting. I just pulled out the Animus card on the other side of the cross. Trying to see in my monitor how it looks. There we go. So he's adding a great burden. Now this is interesting. He's facing away from the issues that he's causing the USA collective, and you don't have to be United States citizen for this to apply to you. In fact, I would argue that if you are an immigrant with a green card or an H-1B visa, that this is going to hit you even harder in many ways. Because this particular individual has his face set against you. He's looking forward towards the future. He doesn't give a flying fuck about who he's affecting in the past, even though he talks about wanting to go back to the past. All he knows is that going back to the past gives him more power when it comes to those authoritarian structures that we associate with Pluto in Capricorn, okay? Now, I note that he was born, I believe, during a Pluto in Leo transit, which would have seen the rise of leaders who were powerful, but also did a whole shitload of damage. Specifically, remember Adolf Hitler came about during the time of Pluto in Leo. And that's what he's hearkening back to. Those are his good old days. So there are Plutos from the past that ostensibly don't affect us until someone comes into power that has that particular Pluto and then wreaks the havoc on all of us, okay? Now, I just pulled out Bear beneath. This is, again, building the past column. This is a very powerful. This is someone who has no problem using their power and their bossiness even to really command that things be overlooked. When it comes to the tree, this is someone who has pushed and shoved his way to the top, and he wants to keep things that way. He benefits from keeping things difficult, because as long as things are difficult for you, then you don't have the energy to revolutionize against him. You can use the knighting technique in Lenormand to take a look at how, even though he has used his blowhard ways to barrel his way through stuff, including barrel his way through to power, that doesn't prevent cycles, revolutionary cycles, from activating. We are in the Pluto return of America. There's nobody who can get away from this, not even the people who truly, genuinely mean well. Everyone's going to be feeling the consequences of this. Take shelter, take heed. Spirit wants to get you out of situations if indeed that's what Spirit wants to do with you. So I'm building the bottom row, the unconscious row. This is about news, about something moving swiftly. And this is in the present these are the present circumstances. So news of this particular, of how he dominated his way to the top with the assistance of, what I just got, is Russia is often symbolized by the bear, and historically has been symbolized by the bear. Makes sense now. But we're going to get more news going into the future, and we're getting it right now, I can see, of what he did to get there. I definitely see that this month could reveal, and the Russians themselves could reveal more, accidentally or deliberately, how he got to the top and what he's meant to do while he's at the top. So the past is the tree, the mountain, and the Russian bear. A bear that is slow to wake up, but once you get it fighting, then it's nearly undefeatable. A stork should not be able to defeat this, and yet that key, that stork together, says all kings fall, all empires fall eventually, and this one will be no different. In the present situation, we have rider, we have cross, and we have key. Okay? There's news coming that is going to revolutionize how we carry around this burden. I do see the potential for the USA Collective to throw the burden off and say, enough is enough. You don't belong in a position of power that you stole, that a foreign entity wanted you to have so that they could have power over a country that they fucking hated, that they have resented now for literal decades. Here we've got dog. This is in the future position, okay? Animus and stork. In the future, he's going to continue to be obedient to these people. He's looking forward to the future, but this dog is looking backwards towards the past. He is at their beck and call. He is going to continue to be at their beck and call. So while this doesn't talk about what we should do necessarily, I'm just asking how this will affect us. People are going to get more and more upset and restless with the understanding of who Trump really is and who is actually backing him, who is telling him what to do, and all this obedience, where that's coming from. He's not going to change, though. Can't teach an old dog new tricks. He's not going to change. He's going to continue to do this. He's going to continue to be obedient in spite of all the news cycles. He's going to ignore it. Basically, he's a lame duck president, ostensibly, if the law hasn't changed so that it gives him a third term or more terms. And he may not make it to that particular point. I don't know if like old age, disease is going to catch up to him or something else is going to catch up to him. But I don't know that he's going to stay in power for very much longer. And I'm not going to put a specific time frame on that because that's like way specific. And we're just in a crazy season. March and April are going to be pretty crazy astrologically speaking, okay? We'll just sit with March and watch what transits come through there because that's news enough. But there could be some real restlessness that causes him to be thrown out of power. One way or another, okay? I think people are going to be upset the more news comes out about this. And I think the Russians are going to create their own kind of power dynamic where they throw in information that has grains of truth in it, but also is designed to make things even more turbulent here in the United States. So be cautious of news that purports to be real, but in fact is lies. You need to use your intuition at this time. You need to be your own upright high priestess. You must tap into your sacred intuition. You must talk to Spirit about this. If it makes you deeply upset, then ask Spirit what you're allowed to know. Oh, hold on. I'm going to take a picture of my cards and I'll be right back. So, I'm back with my Tarot Mucha. My next question is, how is the story of Trump's being a Russian asset likely to end? So I've already put in reversals. I haven't put the cards back. Let me bring my mic closer, and I reminded myself earlier to bring it closer. Sorry about that. One card fell out in the reverse. Two of Swords in reverse. An impossible choice must be made. An impasse that the people are likely to break. And I suspect that means the collective. That Pluto and Aquarius will have some effect. And possibly Neptune and Aries too. That's a highly revolutionary transit that has a very dreamy, idealistic, even delusional understanding of war, of fighting for a particular cause, of soldiers, of freedom fighters even. We've got the Queen of Pentacles here. It's on bottom. But we also have the Devil here on bottom. In reverse. So with the Queen of Pentacles, I believe that this is pointing to Russia once again. The United States less so Russia, yes. Russia wants an impasse, wants an impossible situation. Do you really want to get rid of a leader that you elected, that you have put on a pedestal for so many years? Actually, this is going to be an impossible choice that for a lot of people living in the United States who voted for Trump, they're not going to be able to wrap their minds around this. They're not going to be able to comprehend that the leader they've put on a pedestal for so long is actually a foreign asset who is doing great damage to them. They're not going to want to realize that. Right now, I do see a lot of mental gymnastics coming around all the firings coming from the federal government, for instance, affecting things that people who voted for Trump really enjoy, but they're doing all kinds of mental gymnastics to avoid that it's their leader who they elected doing all this damage, for instance. They don't want to think of that. So I don't think it's going to change. Spirit says to continue to take from the bottom. We have Strength in reverse. Now, this, to me, reminds me of people who are willing to fight, go to bat for causes that they do believe in, but they don't believe in at the same time. Like they pay lip service to believing in this, but when rubber meets the road, they don't actually believe in this. They don't want to believe that he is a foreign asset, a foreign enemy asset specifically. So they're going to be faced with a choice, and I do see the potential for cowardice in some others. Other people are going to get into a fighting mood, something that I would expect to see with Neptune and Aries. But other people are going to cower away and are not going to face the situation for what it actually is. When they're faced with a difficult scenario for them, one where they cannot wrap their mind around it, that Russia is in charge here and not the person that they wanted to be in charge, they're going to cower away and just shut down emotionally, mentally, spiritually, all that stuff. They're not going to want to do anything. If they do anything, it's because that they are pressed through panic, through extreme distress. We've got the Star in reverse. It's about losing faith. I thought you were one individual and you turned out to be something else. I didn't elect a Russian. I wanted to elect an American who was going to make America great again. Loss of faith. It's also about being as enthralled with Trump's star power. Okay? Because he's a star because Russia put him there. We've got the moon. About secrets, about delusion, about illusion. Neptune in Pisces is still a very powerful force at this time, but you're going to start to see the dream, the illusion, the delusion burst and give way to a new dream, a new delusion. Now remember that Neptune is a slow-moving planet and that it affects generations of people. It affects everybody equally, but it moves over the course of like 15 years or something like that. So a dream can last a long time. And what's worse is it lands on top of my Devil card in reverse. So this is about a long-standing illusion that a lot of people are simply never going to let go of the idea that no, he's for us, he's for the people. He is actually going to make America great again. He's not actually going to destroy it, right? That kind of thing. This is about being comfortable in delusion, cognitive dissonance, and the devil is more than happy to contribute to that. This is the hotel that you can never check out of. Well, you can check out, but you can never leave, as the famous song said once. I'm going to close out with taking from the top. More reversed cards. The Ace of Cups in reverse. Landing on top of the Strength card in reverse. On top of the Two of Swords. This is about loss of love. Loss of an emotional opportunity that should have been grown, but instead people are going to cower away from the opportunity to grow into emotionally, spiritually mature people, and they're just going to not make a choice. In the sense that they're not going to say, I was wrong, I need to learn from this experience. Not at all. So people are going to, while I did see in the Lenormand spread that there is going to be some people who start to revolutionize over this, there are going to be other people who stay away from this, who cower away from this. And so there's the real risk that Trump may not face consequences, at least in this lifetime. Oh, he will, is what I'm getting from Spirit. He will. They'll be painful ones, but it's also going to throw people into a furor. Unrest. Deep civil unrest. Okay? Justice is in reverse. Beneath the Star in reverse. Beneath the Queen of Pentacles. The Queen of Pentacles has paid off, particularly Trump, and other Russian assets. I'm getting Tulsi Gabbard as well, in order to give themselves more stability, looking out for themselves and the people that they care about. But justice does not smile on this. The justice will be swift. It may not be quick, but it will be swift on its own time. Not be quick on our time. Justice is going to pull Trump down, allow his star to fall. It wasn't meant to be up forever. When it's inflated by outside circumstances, that's interesting, evolutionary circumstances. It's like his soul contract over lifetimes has evolved to this particular point to show the United States where they are their weakest and ostensibly show the people who are conscious and are willing to improve themselves where they fell short, even if they did vote for him. It can potentially show them where they can grow if they choose to take that. This Pluto in Aquarius gives people the opportunity to shift the personal responsibility onto themselves and not say, with Pluto in Capricorn, it's because of these old school authoritarian structures that I'm not able to do A, B, and C. The responsibility is shifting now onto the people, and a lot of people are not ready for this. So justice is going to pour this Ace of Cups out. There should have been self-love here, but instead all these opportunities for self-love will pour out. This is about people who voted for him, but refuse to see how the person they voted into office is fucking up the United States on behalf of the Russian government. Their consequences will fall on them. This is going to be painful for them. Even as they choose not to see the truth of the matter, they're going to feel the hurt, and they're going to blame everybody else but themselves. Okay, so we have the Four of Pentacles. It's in reverse. This is about losing financial stability. Not just financial stability, but about the resources that make our bodies comfortable. Because they want to stay in delusion. They want to stay in lies. Pluto in Aquarius moves fast. Aquarius being associated with the air, with the wind. The devil is more than happy to keep someone stagnant and in place and delusional, but when their foundation slips out from underneath them, that's when people become desperate and panic and start to lash out. You need to be cautious of those people who panic, who become desperate and want to lash out, because they may lash out at you. Not because you did anything at all to affect the situation, not because you were involved, but because you're the closest target, but because they perceive you as weak. Keep in mind that these are the kinds of people who mistake kindness for weakness. Seen right here. These are people who like to act all tough. I made the right choice. Fuck you, right? I did what I did. I voted for who I believed in. Fuck you. But when things actually get bad, they refuse to acknowledge their part, their role in their own suffering. And so they're going to lash out at external circumstances and external people to help assuage what they're feeling, but it's not going to help. Because again, this is coming from the top. So, no more from me, or rather, some cards of encouragement. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go and get the Uncertain Oracle, and I'll be right back. My final question is, what words of comfort does Spirit have for those of us who did not vote for Agent Krasnov? Once again, the Uncertain Oracle, what happens is I shuffle until Spirit asks me to stop, or until some cards get flipped out. Sometimes that happens too. Whoop, I dropped one. Which one are you? Sorry about all the table bumping. We've got nostalgia. Now, I've been already pulled nostalgia a while back. It's about not being stuck in the past and how good things used to be. And that's as much a criticism or a critique, maybe not a criticism, but a gentle critique for me as it is for other people, because it's really easy to get stuck in the trap of things were so good back in the day. And I have seen I have discussed in previous videos how things are going to get so bad in the United States that a lot of people are going to wish for the days that we're in right now. They're going to say, oh my God, we were so divided back then, but things were okay back then. Things are awful now. Don't get stuck in the nostalgia. Move forward. And that's as much advice for Agent Krasnov as it is for the rest of us, since he wants to take us back to the 1930s. On bottom, we've got release nostalgia so that you can move forward. Nostalgia specifically for things that felt good, but also about things that didn't feel so good. Sometimes it's difficult to release old baggage that we're carrying around because we feel like we deserve it. We feel like we deserve the punishment that we're carrying around. That's for some of us, okay? Definitely not all of us feel that way. I suspect that a Capricorn might feel that way. Release nostalgia so that we can move forward and pay attention to our inner light. I know my camera's not great, but that says light. The primary purpose of this particular channel is for you to see your own inner light, for you to listen to your sacred intuition. If you start doing that because this channel, the mission has been accomplished, okay? But this particular time period is going to ask you to pay attention to your inner light because you cannot rely on others to save you. You and Spirit must work together in order for you to save yourself and others who are vulnerable in your community, who are not able to do so, who might need your help in order to get to safer ground, okay? I'm going to take one more from the top. Make friends with people who you can relate to, who are also working on their own inner lights or finding their way back to their own inner lights after our society. Our society does a pretty good job of saying we need to become this, we need to have that in order to be this. Society is very happy to tell us who we are while we're growing up when we don't know who we are. It's virtually impossible for us to know who we are from the time that we're young. That's a very rare thing for someone to have. And so in the meantime, the world is happy to tell us you're this, when in fact we may not be that at all, when it pigeonholes us into a cubbyhole that we don't belong in. You need to find people who are also hunting for their own inner light. And when you release nostalgia, that's when you can find people who are working on their intuition, who are working on their best and their highest good. Recognize that you are a work of art in and of yourself. You are a diamond, albeit with flaws. Everyone's got flaws. But a diamond is beautiful partly because it has flaws. So, I understand that this reading may have been difficult to listen to. It didn't make me particularly happy. I would have liked to have had the answer. No, it's all blown out of proportion. He's not actually a Russian asset, but this particular reading absolutely gave me confirmation that that is the case. And now I need to release nostalgia, and I need to move forward. Cool. Thank you for listening to this point. I hope you have a great day. Take care.